Hello everybody, I'm Richard from RSCV and I'm going to do a 250 odd mile journey today. So in the course of our daily work, as ever, let's make the use of the opportunity to range test and see the efficiency of an electric car, get some experience of it. So this morning I cast a vote on Twitter. Which car shall I take? A Seat Mii, a Peugeot E208, a Renault Zoe 50 or an MG4? And the winner of that vote was the MG4 with over 50% of the vote. So I'm going to jump in this car and do a bit of a day trip. So I've got to go to Bath, Cheltenham, then Gloucester. It's probably going to round up to about 250 miles from our base here in New Milton on the south coast. So let's get on with the journey and we'll see how I get on for efficiency and what the real world range is of the MG4. I'll also get to know the car a little bit better because I've only driven it fairly briefly, to be honest. So we did an initial review, but after spending the full day in the car doing a long trip, I can tell you a bit more about it, what I like and what I don't like. So that's what we'll do. It's 9 o'clock now. Nice sunny morning. It's about 15 degrees at the moment, warming up quite nicely. So it should be a fairly efficient summer range test for the MG4. So this is an MG4 Long Range Trophy. It's about 6 months old, 7,000 miles on it. Now it's already been used today. My colleague Serge took it home and came in this morning. And it's got 94% of the battery now, claiming 272 miles of range. MG claim up to 281 miles of range on this car. So what will it do in the real world? Well, we're about to find out. So I'm gonna get my colleagues, load them up and off we go. Okay, let's go. You figure out the climate control against.
It's very hot and nasty.
It's warming up quite nicely today. What have we got? It's now 9:15. You lot take so long to get ready.
I'm gonna put a lay in.
So slight change of plan. We're going to go to Cheltenham first, then Gloucester, and then to a location just south of Bath. So a nice little round loop there. Now, from my first impressions of this car, we liked how it drove, didn't we, Gins? But we didn't really get to drive it for that
Not
much.
No, drove a little bit.
But it was, I remember, kind of just nice to drive. Nice ride, nice handling, but kind of fiddly, small font software. So let's see how we get on with that.
The screen is just very small.
Could do it just in the current scheme of things. Could do it being a bit bigger. It's just the font. Everything's quite small.
Yeah.
93% battery already. Okay. So it predicts 237 miles. Can we do all this day in one go without a charge even?
It was just 272. We just lost 40 miles of range.
Did you put the climate on? Turn the climate off. 250.
But still 20 miles. Where did the 20 miles go?
We've just driven 200 meters.
Oh, cool.
Well, this is what it says. Let's see what it actually does. There we go. Energy saving mode is on.
And this,
Eco mode's on. Regen's in strong. 247 miles of range with the climate control on. Remaining from 93%. Let's see what it does. Okay, next challenge. Let's try the voice recognition to navigate
Cheltenham.
to Cheltenham, because the Ioniq 6 is like, what the hell?
Hi, how can I help?
Nav to Cheltenham train station.
Okay, Cheltenham Spa. Shall we go there?
Yes.
Okay, getting directions to Cheltenham Spa.
So that works better than an Ioniq 6. So voice recognition and mapping, that seems okay. Why didn't you do your sound system test, Gins? What's it got? Has it got upgraded audio? This is a top of the range model, come on.
About bass Taycan sound system, put it that way.
It was a bit weak, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It's on my standard, that was shocking.
Have you got speakers in the back, Mark?
Yeah, well, I've got speaking covers. I don't know if there's speakers behind us.
Well, could you hear anything? So the sound system's not amazing. No, look, this is a bargain hatchback, good battery, £30,000. What would you buy? What do you guys buy? £30,000, a new MG4 like this with reasonable spec. We've got lane keeping and adaptive cruise, and
I think for the range and value for money, it's it's pretty good.
64 kilowatt hour battery.
Yeah,
So that's more than a Model 3 standard range. Probably less efficient than the Model 3 standard range, because Tesla Model 3 is always like mega efficient. Although it might be close, we don't know, we're going to find out today. But they're more expensive, although they've come down in price, You can get a new Model 3 standard range for circa 40,000, but it's an extra £10,000. And they're not a hatchback.
Or you get a used Model 3.
Can get a used Model 3 for that?
Long range.
Yeah, but you're talking a car that's like 3 years old and fair miles on it. Depends what you need, I guess, isn't it? Model 3 is also quite a long thing. Like my wife wouldn't drive a Model 3. It's a saloon, she can't see where things are. Hatchback like that should be alright.
I have more room in the back than a Model 3 as well, so that's another.
That's a good point. The Model 3 seats in the back aren't
Very
amazing, are they?
I've got headroom, leg room.
Is the seat close to the floor, or has he got a good like support under the leg?
It's similar to a Model 3 in that respect, yeah.
Your knees are up a little
I
bit.
do have a 2-inch high transmission tunnel as well, but it's not an issue.
It's just a 2-incher.
Well.
Ain't gonna do the job.
You can't adjust your seatbelt height either.
No seatbelt height adjustment. The seat's comfortable though.
Seat's alright, yeah.
I haven't even adjusted it, but me and Serge are pretty similar in size. Height adjustment. I don't have any lumbar adjustment though. But the seats, I don't know. I would claim these are more comfortable than a Model 3. But most people love a Model 3 seat, and I don't find them that comfortable.
This has more bolstering than Model 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should be mentioning it. I found a birthday card for Mia.
Oh, poor Mia. Oh, we'll have to get hold of Mia.
I'll be
When do people take their stuff out of the cars?
Got some beers.
That's for lunch. Hang on.
You got lunch money. Thanks, Mia.
Now I know this car is capable of some pretty good efficiency. Serge used this car last weekend, did 100 miles, and averaged 4.7 miles per kilowatt hour. He did say mainly A roads, and he actually had the climate control off because of warm weather, had the window down. However, I think motorways hit the efficiency of this, because on that trip there, we covered 180 miles at only averaged 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour, which isn't ideal really. So if I have a look since it's been charged, 140 miles, 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour, and I know I'm 42%. Now this is kind of the furthest point of today, so given that I'm probably gonna need about 46% to head back, I'm probably gonna have to stop and charge at some point. So on motorways you can see the efficiency really drops down just as higher speeds do cost it a little bit there. We had it all in eco mode as well, so, and it's quite warm, sensible driving, but real world. At the end of the day, you know, we didn't need to have air conditioning on and such like. So anyway, we're going to stop for a bite to lunch, just over there, opposite Chop Station, and then we'll head off and we'll see how it goes this afternoon. So why don't we put in work and then the stop off point, and then let's see what it plans for charging. So you know, it's our entire remains of the journey, which should be outside of the range. I've gone to eco mode now for 88 miles of range, 36% battery.
Is it gonna find our Simon?
So that's navigating straight to work, 124 miles,
to work.
87 miles of range, and it's not come straight up with a charging plan, has it?
No.
Right, okay.
There's nothing.
Why is it not? It should sort of say charging recommended, maybe
Take the
here.
second exit.
Very, very like Google Maps.
So you can do waypoints
yeah,
easy
but
enough.
very easy. Like
In
you just enter
400
another
yards,
address.
keep
That's
right
it.
away 400.
Okay.
Look, around town, it's all good. It's gone up to 3.8 now, and now we're going to hit the motorway. It will drop back down, 3.7,
Take the
3.6.
second exit.
Oh, good.
Yeah, which I don't need to charge yet. Still got 35% battery, so I want to see chargers kind of on the way, which are faster. It should kind of automatically plan that. If it's not doing that, again, it's just one of those things that makes. If this was a new electric car owner and they're doing that journey, they're going to be.
What do you do now?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you do now? Which one of these purple dots do you pick? How do you feel confident in where you're going and what you're doing?
Unless I can go to search. Oh yeah, okay, I can press EV charge here. Let's see what this comes up with. There we go.
Near destination. Okay, all right. Let's let it off a little bit.
Yeah, that was fun.
We need to criticise it pretty hard there.
There we go. 75 miles away.
Does it tell you what speed they are?
50 kilowatts. Yeah, 50 kilowatts. 50 kilowatts. 50 kilowatts. 50 kilowatts.
So this car can charge quicker than that, can't it?
62 kilowatts.
That's at work though. That's beyond the range. That's looking for at destination.
Okay, let's go with along the route. I like this that it shows on the map straight away where as well. So as soon as you scroll through here,
So it's doing it along the route. Okay, that's good. So where's like a 100 kilowatt charger? We don't want 50 kilowatts if we can help it. I'm glad you're the passengers to do this for me, because doing this whilst driving on the motorway would be a little bit fiddly.
Yeah. I guess you do it once and you'll get used
Well,
to
I'd want it
this.
to prompt a logical route on the way. That's the thing, you know, you go. You've still got this range, so near this point you
There we
need to
go,
charge.
charging speed. I can adjust by charging speed.
Okay, let's do over
Super fast.
Super fast, 50 kilowatt.
Oh, that's over 50 kilowatts.
Okay, I'll do that.
This
The
one.
thing is, I think it's probably using Google search, but it's not kind of linking it to the car and the range it's got, and that, you know what I mean?
It's
just
trying, but it's...
it's not going. Oh, I'd recommend charging here.
But
Like a Tesla would go.
yeah.
Drive this far, then charge. Okay, we just stopped for a quick charge. So we're just coming down through Bath. There's not many fast sort of multi-bay charging sites in Bath, are there? So anything on the route back as we kind of cut cross country is 50 kilowatts. So we're at a hotel just outside Bath. Lovely looks as well. And on a 50 kilowatt BP Pulse. We arrived here with 19% and we left the work at 94%. So we used 75% of the battery to do 170 miles that we've done so far to get here today. Pro rata that out should give a 100% range of 227 miles based on today. The average is 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. That is mostly at motorway, dual carriageway. It's less efficient at those speeds. I think that particularly this car seems to be less efficient at those speeds. We have been loaded up. We had 3 people in it for most of the journey. One person's now gone, but you can see in the back of this car at the moment, we actually have some stuff. So we're actually still kind of loaded up with bits and pieces. From here, it's all A roads now, back down towards the south coast. We're going to make one more stop off as we go and pick up a car against here. So this should be more efficient. This has a slightly slower speeds, but nonetheless, I thought we might be able to do the whole day, whole round trip in one go. It's only last weekend, Surge managed to average 4.7 miles per kilowatt hour, and that worked out pro rata at a range of 300 odd miles, but we're nowhere near that today, unfortunately. And I've not exactly been driving like a lunatic. It's been in eco mode, but it is what it is. So what do we need? We only need about 40%. We arrived with 19%. We've been here for 15 minutes, 16 minutes, so we're going to plug in about another 2 minutes and head on. This is only 50 kilowatt charger. The car can take over 100, so it could be faster charged than this, but nonetheless, just time to go use the toilets and stuff like that and have a quick break, and then we'll be off. Right, one thing that's been bugging us is the climate control. So we found that it's cold, so we've had to turn it up to like 24, 25 degrees to keep it even kind of comfortable temperature. And he's from Latvia, he likes it freezing. But sometimes when you adjust this, there it goes, I've just turned it down to, and then the auto's gone off now. So it's not on auto anymore. But the fan's increasing.
But it's now on feet.
It says fan auto, but that auto's been deselected on there. And it's just coming out of the feet now. So now it's hot, isn't it? Yeah. So I put it back to auto, then it comes out. You should be able to just change the temperature without it turning on and off auto. And even then, it doesn't keep the auto balance that well. It was just coming out really cold earlier. We had to turn it up to really high temperature. So, I don't know, it just seems a little bit erratic on that. There's probably a method to it. You probably get used to using it correctly. But, yeah, I don't know, it seems a bit odd. We're probably just not using it correctly somehow. But I just want to set a temperature. And normally about 20 degrees. But when we had that earlier, it was freezing, wasn't it? So look, if I set 20 now, it blasted.
On the feet again.
And just gone to the feet. So it's gone off of auto again, look. And it doesn't seem to go back to auto. Look, it's blasting out the feet. It's the only car which really get really cold feet. Push auto, then it's balanced again. But why does it deselect auto? We've had this a couple of times as well. The nav freezes, so we're not there. That was a couple of hundred meters further back. I was just showing you the climate menu because the climate control system is a bit odd. And now this is not where it should be. So if I move that and press recenter, and then it works, goes back to where we are.
And it's also like in Iceland now, freaking out. It's so windy here.
So now it's cold, so it's gone to 20 degrees again. Let's set that, 22, and it's just almost turned it off. It's kept auto.
Why this time it kept auto?
I don't know. I can't work it out.
Is the nav going to be mulched up again?
And now the nav's probably frozen again. So look, we're moving,
Yeah, you never know.
and that's not working. So I have to move that, then do recenter, and then it gets it again. What was your efficiency on that one? Just scroll that one up. From
3.8.
that's just pretty consistent the rest of the day.
No, that's
That's from
No.
that's when I restarted last drive.
Aha.
4 miles. Yeah.
See, that's how
It's
I
country
drive.
roads. It's no. It's a slower
It's
road.
me driving.
Slower roads.
Nah.
Slower roads.
Nope.
Coming just out of Bath on the south, kind of towards Trowbridge, just stopped at a petrol station for a fresh bottle of water. And there's 2 BP Pulse 150 kilowatt chargers at the petrol station, both available. Could have used them. This can charge 117 kilowatts, they're 150 kilowatt chargers, so really we should have just used those, to be honest. So I wasn't aware of those ones, and when Gints was looking at the map earlier, he couldn't find them. That would have been the logical one. That would have been then, well, more than twice the speed of the stop earlier, so it would have probably been a 9-minute stop for completing day. It's probably how long it took me to queue up to buy this bottle of water in the petrol station. So there we go, live and learn. There's another charger I wasn't aware of, and I am now. Right then, 5:10 and we're back. So I'm going to give you some real world mileage from the MG4 now and the efficiency figures. Been in this car, accumulated total of 6 hours 52 minutes actually now. Look, I'll just quickly show you, and I've done 239.8 miles since we left here this morning. And my total average 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour. What I want to do here is actually look at since the last charge. So when we're charging Bath, we've done 69.5 miles, and that's 4.2 miles per kilowatt hour. So you can see there that those slower roads are more efficient. The A roads, where you're just kind of trawling along behind other traffic, a little bit through town as well. So you can see the efficiency from the early in the day with the motorway and dual carriageway does affect this car quite a lot, but it's capable of some pretty good efficiency there. Now, I've done some pro rata figures based on the percentage of battery that we've used on each one of those sections. So earlier, with the efficiency being a bit lower, about 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour, it gives this car a range of about 225 odd miles from 100% to 0%. If you're getting more like 4.2 miles per kilowatt hour, well, based on the 69.5 miles that we travelled there and the percentage, we left there 40% from that little charge stop down to 14% now. That would work out to 267 miles of capable range from 100% to 0 pro rata percentage. So what do we pin the mileage of this car at? Well, 225 to 270, depending on what road it's being driven on. If you're really trying, could be 300, to be honest. You know, if you're super efficient, maybe you've got the climate off and it's a warm day, probably in the winter, worse weather, heating on, it could be 200 miles. So, but generally speaking, around the ballpark of 225 to 270 is really quite achievable in this car. So what do I think of it after spending it's come up to nearly 7 hours in the car now today? For not really that many miles there, but that's UK traffic. I could have been in a fast car and it wouldn't have been any quicker. This is the real world. So it's a good all-round car, basically. It does a bit of everything quite well. It's quite comfortable to drive. Seats are comfortable. Steering handling's pretty good. The suspension's comfortable. Some sort of really bumpy roads, it gets a little bit bouncy, but it's actually just generally a quite good, comfortable car. The equipment level's good. The autopilot system I found pretty good, although it's a little bit jiggly, kind of in its lane keeping, but the adaptive cruise is working nicely. We do have things like heated steering wheel in this car and all that kind of stuff. It feels quite nice in here. It's all good. The space in the back's pretty good. I think probably my biggest gripe really is with the software. It looks okay, and generally like the colours and the graphics are all okay. The interface is sort of okay actually. It's just the screen could just do have been a little bit bigger really. And it can be a bit laggy and it can be a bit buggy. So if you're on navigation, you go to climate control, which is also a bit sporadic. I mean, I've got it set to auto at 25 degrees at the moment. It's pretty cool in here. I normally have it about 20, so that seems to be a little bit all over the place. But then if you go from climate back to navigation, the pin on the map of where you are is sort of frozen. If you just jiggle the map and recenter the pin, it goes back to it. And it just wouldn't repair my phone automatically, even though it was on my Bluetooth earlier. So a couple of things with that were a bit of an annoyance. And also it was disappointing that I couldn't seem to get it to route plan. I was traveling back here without enough range to travel all the way back in one go. So I'd like to see it suggest a logical planning stop along the way or a couple of options, and it just didn't. So we were sort of fumbling trying to find somewhere. And it doesn't really matter to me, I'm quite experienced in driving electric vehicles, but this is your first electric car. You know, I would recommend you probably have to do a bit of planning and foresight yourself beforehand, and kind of, you get to know the distance you can do, and maybe look on an app like ZapMap where you might charge. Would probably give you the best experience of it. Because it's a bit clumsy, and that's where some cars, and this is where something like a Tesla especially shines, is just where that ease of route planning. It shows you where you're going to charge, how long for. It's a logical charging stop nearly always, and so that's easier. So that is a bit of a shame to see that today, but generally speaking, it's a nice, good, practical family car. It's nice to drive, and the battery size and the value for money, it's all pretty good. So there we have it, the MG4. I quite like it. Range is quite good. It's a good all-rounder. Yeah, good option. So MG4, thumbs up. I like it. See you in the next video very soon. Thank you. Take care. See you next time. Subscribe. That's what I wanted to say. Hit the bell icon, all that stuff. So yeah, it's getting tiring, isn't it? 7 hours in the car. Right, well, I'm off. See you later. Next video.